And they had people like Jim Lee, Bob McLeod, Joe Rubenstein, Ron Frantz, to create art that specifically was made to be on a card, because finally art was created for the card. They follow that up. Next year, they have Arthur Adams do art for a card. Think about that. All right, Swag. Last year, this was the OAX poster that was done by Simone Bianchi.
Yeah.
That sold in auction. Beautiful Weapon X.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The style is really good. That's, published, but it's not the same thing as what we're about to see.
Right.
All right, so this is the Hildebrandt exhibit. As you know, Greg recently passed away.
Yeah.
Tim had already been passed away. But 1994, Marvel Masterpieces was just indelible to most of our childhood, if we're anywhere between the age of 35 to 45, right?
Right.
Did
yeah.
you collect?
No, absolutely remember this stuff. Like this, it's so cool to see it. And one of the things that I noticed is how much more the colors. You lose detail when you print it, obviously. Right. And it's really cool to see it in person.
So for those who may not know, I know most people are going to know, but Greg and Tim Hildebrandt did the original poster for 1977 Star Wars.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about big time artists. Then they did the calendar for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, which people still hold to this day as some of the best fantasy art that's ever been done. And for them to create a large set of their art specifically only for trading cards is a really big deal.
Yeah.
We're talking about big time artists that have made a huge impact. And we have collectible cards and original art for those cards. But then they came back in 2017 and did this triptych here of Venom, Carnage, and Symbiote Suit Spider-Man. And this is one of those pieces with like all of the light, the fire that you see, that is actually lost in the card itself. Come in real quick, like get into the detail of Venom's face right there. This, we say it too much, and I know people get tired of hearing it, but you just have to see it in person.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about when you look at something like this?
I mean, just like on the tongue, like the amount of attention to detail and how much color palette you have to use to create the light and shadows, the moon, as well as the fire.
Well, imagine saying, how do I get this red symbiote vibe in the dark with fire in the background?
Yeah.
Like their ability to do that is
just
incredible.
To create the depth and the texture, even just looking at like how many reds are in Carnage here, from like the interior of his body to like the exterior. It's amazing to see that and how much effort it takes and how many times they have to go over this. And then, like you said, when you put it on a card, like maybe it's there, maybe it's captured, but you still might lose a lot.
You do lose. There is something that is distilled down, but I mean, this is why they call it masterpieces.
Yeah.
These are the top artists really in the world of fantasy or comic book art doing work. Black Panther, when you did your video, Black Panther was the top seller in this set. You remember?
Yeah, he was. That's right.
And it's a great card. It was interesting to see why that card was chosen. You got Spider-Man, Venom, Wolverine in that set, but the gold signature was the top seller.
So cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
This is, all right, so nostalgia for me. So there's some cards, and we'll see a few of them here. When I see them, it like takes me back immediately. This was one of them, Archangel. Like, it's so majestic. And they said, how do we like really emphasize his majesty? We're gonna do it as if the light's coming from the bottom up.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Here we go, another Venom, classic. Manu loves this one.
I mean, that is classic. Obviously in their style, but when you think of Venom, that's kind of just the classic Venom pose right there.
Yeah, premium Spider-Man set, for sure. All right, so this is more modern. That was some of our 90s flair. Here we have 2022 Marvel Masterpieces from our friend and pal, Dan Dos Santos. He had already done most of the set, and Upper Deck called him and said, hey, the Fantastic Four are no longer banned. We need you to do a piece with all of them on one card. So he did a Doom with Mr. Fantastic, of course, Invisible Woman Thing, and Human Torch. And what's crazy about Battle Spectrums is it's a 2D plane, right, that they have to create this 3D battle on a small trading card. And for them to be able to get that without turning the back of somebody to it and still get that effect is really awesome. And he did a great job here. Coming to the Human Torch. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's so cool.
And he's just firing back like, yeah, you guys are nothing. I'm doomed.
Yeah, a lot of characterization done really well in this piece.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's go over here. More, okay, this is a really interesting piece, all right? So this is Bella Ratchlin. Bella did this piece for Topps Marvel Digital. So this is not a physical card, this is a digital card. And it's still card art in a sense, right? That's the world we live in. But now that Topps has the license, don't be surprised if that pops up on a physical card.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't she gorgeous?
Yeah.
Bella is just one of the best. And let me tell you, an even better person than a painter, which is saying something. This is Noel Grego. This is from 2020 Midnight Suns, Fleer Ultra Midnight Suns. Noel just did the most recent Marvel Masterpieces release. He'll likely be the last Marvel Masterpieces artist ever, unless the Marvel Masterpieces brand ends up somewhere other than Upper Deck, or unless Upper Deck gets the license back eventually. Oh my gosh. This is also from 2017, Fleer Ultra Spider-Man, another beautiful triptych. Why is Silk still underrated?
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. There's so many great Spider characters, but she is definitely sort of up next. You know, she's that character that people are so excited about. She so clearly has a.
What are they
fan base
waiting
and
on?
following. Well, aren't they supposed to have a show? with
But who
her?
cares?
Yeah.
Like-
they need to put her in the Marvel Rivals video game.
But that would be that would help.
That would be a start.
But you have a beautiful first appearance cover.
Yeah.
She has a great origin story in the way that works out. And her ultimate costume design they nailed, right?
Yeah. The red mask is iconic.
It
already.
is. But Ghost Spider. To think about the time that Marvel was in when they created this character, because comics were pretty down, right?
Yeah.
But to come out with Miles and Gwen during that time, they're going to be iconic characters forever. I like the ballet slippers because I do ballet. I don't know if you know that.
I do not know.
Yeah. This is a beautiful piece right here. We have Black Cat. This is from Megan Hedrick. This just came out in maybe what some people might call the set of the year. Fleer Ultra Matriarchs, an all-female set. And she slayed the females in that set. Look how beautiful that is.
That's amazing.
Could you imagine if that was a cover on a comic?
Oh, it would be it would sell incredibly well.
It would sell so well, right? But you can only get it on a Marvel card right now. All right, Wayshak. Jonathan Wayshak. I talk about him a lot, so people are going to be like, well, are you talking about him again? But he is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think the guy uses any reference.
That's crazy.
He just pours this out of his head like it's nothing. And it's the most insane thing. You got Death in the background, which is the love interest of Thanos, which is still the...
Yeah. I mean, the shading that he does in his artwork is it's second to none.
It's like
the
a galaxy in the eye.
Yeah.
Like this
Incredible piece.
And it's again art made for a card.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Oh, some might recognize this. Do you recognize this, baby? This hangs in my room. This is my painting. Here we got Magic here, just a beautiful piece.
On loan from the Spidey Hits
okay.
collection.
Yeah, it is. But Swag, come in here and look at this, dude.
So who did this one?
Jim Pavlicek, he's the one that did it, but I love the hair right here and the way it still has that magical vibe. You still get the wickedness of Limbo in the background.
Yeah.
And she's like unfazed by it. She's got her soul sword. She can handle all of them.
I love that.
It's a beautiful piece. But who does she look like?
Mom.
She looks like my wife, which is one of the reasons why I love collecting. Oh my goodness. Julie Bell Jean Grey from 1994. This is actually from 1995, Fleer Ultra X-Men, but she painted it in 94. Julie and her husband Boris, they study the human anatomy.
Yeah.
They do realism art. And so when you go back to the 90s, Bob Budiansky and the team at Marvel were like, hey, look, if we're going to do Marvel cards and we're going to do fantasy art, let's do realism art. Imagine if these characters that we read about in the comic books were actually real people.
Yeah.
What would they look like? And we get Julie, Joe.
Yeah. She does incredible, like high fantasy art. Mm-hmm. You know, she's got a whole setup here at the show.
I haven't seen her yet. I got to go see her today.
It's pretty amazing.
All right, then we got one of the masters. So this is Mom, this is Son, Julie, and this is Dave Palumbo. This is Julie Bell's son.
Yeah.
And he did. This is from Flair, and this is Great Doom. And you recognize the reference, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Secret Wars. You know. That's Thanos, I believe, right there.
That's Thanos. He just rips that skeleton right out of his body. All right, more Dan DeSantos. Another triptych, and you're seeing this because really back to 1992, Uncanny X-Men, Jim Lee set, right? He does this thing where he creates this 9-panel of connecting cards. And the idea of connecting cards become a thing, right? And so artists will do this where they do one painting, but then the cards connect. So this is an individual card, this is an individual card, and so you got 3 cards that connect together.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, right? Did you count Longshot's fingers? He's got 4.
Yeah.
That's how you know an artist knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
they know their stuff because Longshot only has 4 fingers. All right, this is a piece. This is where the popularity of the character doesn't match the level of the art. You got Phantom X, which is a relatively, C/D tier character, right? But the art is amazing. So when I see this, I go, what if this was Spider-Man in this pose with this level? Like it would be well thought of and really something somebody wants. But people who understand the art for the cards understand that this is a really good piece. More Dave Palumbo, Punisher. This is from Marvel Masterpieces 2020. Dave does a great job with fire. That's probably one of his better skill sets in his illustrations that I see anyways.
Yeah.
Man-Thing from Simone Bianchi. Simone and many artists like him will talk about how Man-Thing or Thing himself are some of their favorite characters to draw because you can be as creative as you want to be with the detail because it's meant to be messy. It's not meant to be the same thing over and over again like Spider-Man's lines on his outfit.
Yeah. Well, I feel when you're drawing a human, there's like an expectation we all have, right? The realism, whereas you get to play more into the fantastical elements with Man-Thing.
But here's what we got. Here, I love that they did this. We have an example of the card here, which doesn't show how vibrant the actual painting is.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like the blacks are too dark. You don't get as much detail over here.
Yeah, and so Simone, look at this. This is his prelim. He all but fully paints his prelims.
Wow.
So it's a work of art in itself. And then he's like, okay, this is what it needs to be. And then he does this. But when Upper Deck saw Simone Bianchi's prelims, it created a new insert for the card hobby. They said, you know what? We're going to make this a card too. So you have an insert set called the prelim set, which is this.
Very cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. So I actually own the Enchantress from this set.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that. And we got Doc Ock again. Simone, he does sci-fi metals, and so you'll notice that in a lot of his work, you'll see this stuff in the background. It looks like it's in the future in space, even though we're looking at, Dr. Octopus who, lives in the Bronx, right? Yeah. All right, Joe Jusco, 2016, Tier 4 Hulk, okay? An incredible piece. Look at those Salsh's fingers, baby. So Joe says he uses his own hands for reference, just so you know.
A what?
He used his own hands for the reference. All right, we have a pretty spicy piece next to us. We got Shauna the She-Devil, also from 2016. Marvel Masterpieces from Joe Jusco.
It looks like a photo.
I mean,
if you kind of squint a little bit.
You do. It's so real. Of course, the first thing you look at when you see this is the cat here and here. They're both beautiful animals.
Yeah. That's what he intended. That's where he intended you.
Spidey hit. Look at that. Spider-Man. This is the holofoil for 2016 Marvel Masterpieces, Joe Jusco. So I have to tell you this. If you don't know, Joe Jusco, when he painted his 136 pieces for 2016 Marvel Masterpieces, he sold them all to one person. And he sold them through a broker, and the paintings disappeared. So the card art comes out, the card fans want to buy the paintings,
Yeah.
and no one can find them. No one knows where they're at. And they stay hidden from 2015 until this year, 2024, when it was revealed that the paintings were still in a wooden crate in Paris.
Wow.
And basically they became available for sale, and we had to basically pull a bunch of people together to buy them, because they only wanted to make one sale for all of it.
Right.
And so a bunch of the Marvel card community and card art collectors came together and basically came up with $2 million to buy every single piece of the paintings, right?
Yeah.
And so now they're unearthed, and you're able to see them here because of doing that. And we get this wonderful Mystique. God, that's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Joe outdid himself. Just an amazing Silver Surfer. He's obviously looking at Galactus, in my opinion, going, ugh, I got to deal with that dude again. He's hungry again. Venom. What do you think, dude?
So cool. It's amazing.
And
the
then-
Miles is amazing too.
So you want to know what's really pretty awesome about this, Miles? This is the first time that he's in Masterpieces.
Wow. Yeah.
It's really good. And then we get, a crowd favorite right
Character
now.
who's kind of popular right here.
He's all right. He's all right. Deadpool, doing his thing, about to get blown up. And then we'll go ahead and fast forward over here to Miss Julie Bell. I'm always impressed when these realism artists have to do underwater,
Yeah.
to be able to capture that.
Yeah. It was the hair, that quality and
It's
her sash as well. And
to your point. It's like she said, if she's underwater, she's flying.
yeah.
She's floating. She's free from gravity, and the hair sells that.
Sells it for sure.
Dude, that's a great point. Oh, dude. Okay, Dimitri Patelis. This is a friend of mine, friend of the Spidey Hits channel. He did a Magneto here. This was his first card art work, for the most part. In 1995, you had Marvel Masterpieces, and they said it's a lot of work for one painter or even two to do a full set.
Sure.
So they did 4 artists that year, and they rotated basically who got what card and so forth and so on. It's a longer story, but Dimitri was one of those. Another Hildebrandt Gambit. Gambit is a favorite, dude.
Yeah.
And he's from Louisiana. That's where we're from. So we love him. 1993 Marvel Masterpieces. So 92 is Joe Jusco. They about killed him with him doing all the pieces in like a short period of time.
Right.
So in 93, they hired a bunch of people. And it is a lesser thought of set because of that. People want it to be a collection of the same artists
Yes, yeah.
for the most part. But however, you did get people like Julie Bell in there, and this is one of the pack arts of Iron Man. And
Yeah.
there's no flesh here, which you just mentioned that they do really well, but she made it work, right?
Yeah, she did a great job.
It's
And,
awesome.
I opened them up on my channel and I had bricks.
Bricks.
Yeah.
And you know what? So this is how much I watch his channel. So, but his favorite that he pulled was really Blade, because it was the first appearance of Blade.
It was a
And
first
you
play
s-
card.
And
Yeah.
you sent to get. I think you sent it to get graded, right?
I didn't actually. I still have it. Still
yeah.
have it
Well,
raw,
he
but I
influenced
will.
me. I sent multiple Blades to get graded, and I got 2 PSA 10s.
Oh.
See? Yeah.
See,
yeah.
mine wasn't worth getting graded because my cards were bricked.
It was so
and
bricked.
It was okay, but yeah.
So anybody watching this, 1993 Marvel Masterpieces is notorious for bricking because of the gloss, so don't buy it. Here we have Strongman from 1992 Marvel Masterpieces. We don't see a lot of this art in this room because Joe likes to sell to one buyer everything. He wants the ease of the transaction. He did that in 1992. And then since then, the pieces have been somewhat hidden. And there are people that have them, but they don't come up to market because it is not the first original art set for Marvel, as odd as that may sound, but it's the first Masterpieces set for Marvel. And they're really important. So even with the amount of ability to get art in this room, Strong Guy is one of the representations for 92 Masterpieces. And then, of course, we have Mr. Sinister from 92 as well. So just Sinister, man. We need a Disney Plus series of Sinister, in my opinion.
Can't wait till they have to utilize him as a villain, in the X-Men world.
I would love for it to go like back in time, his origin story of how he becomes Mr. Sinister, and like take their time with it, give him his love interest, all the struggle of him becoming a pretty sinister character.
They could do it. He's got ties to High Evolutionary and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
It would be good. All right, I think that.
Yeah, wraps it up. We'll finish out with the
We
series
have
one
to.
here.
Okay. All right. Oh wow, we have series 1.
Come full circle.
Of course, with you,
know?
right? All right. The intention of this room is really to give a representation of original art and marble cards for the whole time. We're going to focus in on this piece right here. Okay, this piece is from 1990, Marble Universe in Pell. And let me tell you what's really amazing about this. In the 80s, you had a department in Marble that did special projects. They worked on Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe. They were creating characters and art for the toy companies to be able to create and sell. Well, that started to die down in the late 80s, and they had this special department, and they were like, hey, where we were using comic images to do cards more as a novelty, what if we use actual Marvel artists to create a truly Marvel release set? So not a licensed set, but Marvel creating a set. And they went into their bullpen, and they had people like Jim Lee, Bob McLeod, Joe Rubenstein, Ron Frentz, to create art that specifically was made to be on a card rather than trying to put images in a comic book panel on a card.
Right.
And then they said, well, what if we also built it kind of like a trading card set for sports, where we put statistics of the characters, you know, battles fought, 8,599, wins, 4,245, losses, 3,671, 863 ties.
Yeah.
Like, we'll put the statistics of these characters on there like they're sports characters, right? And we're even going to do rookie cards. Ghost Rider is a rookie card in that set, right?
Yeah.
What happened is when kids got a hold of these packs, they couldn't get enough of it.
It was amazing.
It was massive because finally art was created for the card.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I said 92 Masterpieces wasn't the first original art set, this is one of the reasons why I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
So they follow that up, and the next year they have Arthur Adams do art for a card. Think about that.
It's crazy.
And it's unbelievable. Look at the detail in this. And who doesn't love an Arthur Adams thing, right?
Yeah.
It's so good. And kids just, you know, and I'm saying kids because of our age and most of our viewers here, we fell in love with this stuff right here. Joe Jusco did the background of this is actually painted by Joe Jusco.
I didn't know that.
It's not a digital type of thing, and I don't know what all technology you have access to, but you had the artists do this, you had Paul Mounts do the colors, Joe Jusco do the background, and put it all together.
Yeah.
Insane, right? Too good. It's just too amazing. And that's Mark Silvestri that did the art for that. And here we got Alex Salvik, which I have one of my first ever pack pull sketch card is from him, from 1997 Clear Ultra Spider-Man, but doing Spider-Man art here, which is just, these are the actual creators for the comics doing actual original art for the trading cards.
Yeah.
Which is pretty special, right? Unbelievable. Adam Kubert.
Adam Kubert.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No.
All right, man, what you think?
It's incredible. I mean, it's so cool to be able to kind of go throughout the Marvel card history, which in a lot of ways is still like a young history because
It is.
it's still getting more and more popular. And yeah, to be able to see some of these pieces, and I'm so curious, you know, not that they're for sale, but you know, everything has a price, and I'm curious what they would go for. And I might have to ask.
Yeah, we'll have to do that later on.
Yeah.
The prices can be pretty insane.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think there's still a lot of unearthing that's happening.
Yes.
Even for me, to be able to go back into the 90s, 80s, 1966 Don Russ and go, what was really going on during that period of time? What really happened with these cards? Why are they in the state they're in now? And what makes them special? Like, you know, we always want the thing that's the most difficult to get, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still figuring out what some of that is.
And that's the fun thing about art is, you know, as you shared some of the stories, like, oh, this set was, you know, shipped over to this one buyer and nobody knew where it was, and it was over in France. And, I think that's part of the fun of the hunt of like, do these pieces still exist? Who owns them? Where do I find it? You know, and that's what makes the hobby so fun.
It's awesome. All right, man. Thanks for letting me walk you around here.
Thank
It was a
you for
pleasure.
taking me. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Have a marvelous day.